Hi guys, it's Aria from MMOs.com doing the quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news. The announcement beginning July 13th, 2020. This is episode number 253 of the recap, and the first news this week comes from Amazon Game Studios regarding New World, which originally set to launch back in May and was pushed back to late August, and now they announced that New World is going to be delayed until spring 2021. So it'll be another year before anybody gets to actually play New World, at least on the official launch. According to the studio's director, they need more time to incorporate tester feedback and to add more features to the game. So far, Amazon Game Studios has been a total bust. I remember being pretty excited about the fact that Amazon is now working on games. This was announced years ago, but it's been a total bust. Their first game, Breakaway, shut down very quickly and it wasn't very good. Crucible launched recently and was such a disaster that they literally had to unlaunch the game and brought it back into closed beta. I'm not optimistic on Crucible, and given the track record so far, I'm not too optimistic on New World either. Anyone who signed up for the beta and pre-ordered the game, they will be able to try the current build of the game on August 25th. So at least if you paid for the game, you can at least try it, but the full launch is pushed back until 2021 in the spring. Next up, speaking of games constantly delayed, Crowfall did another Q&A live stream this week and talked about what's being added to the game next, and it looks like the next time they'll be focusing on improvements to forts and keeps. While it's good to see small things getting done, Crowfall has been in development now for over 5 years, at least since Kickstarter started in 2015. I still have no idea when Crowfall is going to be officially launching. It's been in development now for such a long time, and I'm not too optimistic really about any of these crowdfunded MMORPGs, as release dates have to keep on moving with these games. But Crowfall promises a blend of MMO with large-scale strategy, and while it sounds cool again, I'm not optimistic on any of these crowdfunded games. Up next, as for games actually coming out, the beta for World of Warcraft Shadowlands begins this week, so I suspect they'll be definitely launching the game before the end of the year, as expected. This is a developer update video as well, talking about what they're working on right now. But one new change coming to Shadowlands is the ability for players to get free gender changes in the game's barbershop. Not sure I'd be trusting a barbershop for a gender change. The good thing, of course, though, is the gender change will be free at the barbershop, whereas it was a paid service in the past. Now it's available entirely for free. How progressive of World of Warcraft. And we also learned that the way flying is unlocked in Shadowlands is going to be a little bit different this time around. Instead of farming reputation with multiple factions, you do earn just renown with a single faction, so it made it easier to unlock flying in the new area once it's launched. Next up, Elder Scrolls Online announced the next DLC in the ongoing Heart of Skyrim storyline titled Stonethorn, which adds a new questline and it features two new group dungeons, Stone Garden and Castle Thorn. Alongside the Stonethorn DLC will be a free update called Update 27, which will be featuring performance upgrades and the new homestead character pathing system, which allows players to create paths for their pets, mounts, and assistants. Both Update 27 and Stonethorn should be launching on the PTS later today, I believe. But yeah, no full release date on the update though, just yet. Next update for Runescape is set to launch on July 27th, titled Desperate Measures, which continues the Elder God storyline and will give players a chance to make full use of the recently introduced Archaeology skill. And more details and the full patch notes will be available a bit closer to launch. And again, this is launching on July 27th for Runescape. Next up, Legends of Aria from Citadel Studios officially transitioned from early access to full launch on Steam last week. The developers are also rolling out their Frozen Tundra update, which features a frigid new zone, customizable traits, prestige abilities for bards and tamers, more hybrid builds, a competitive PvP arena, and more. Legends of Aria launched as a buy-to-play game, but has since gone free-to-play. It's a very much heavily inspired by Ultima Online, and if you're looking for something different, or at least something a bit more reminiscent of old-school MMORPGs, give this one a try. Again, it's free-to-play on Steam. It's not hugely popular as it peaked at just 240 players this weekend on Steam, but if you're looking for a new game to play, I think it's worth checking out. Up next, the mobile MMORPG Rebirth is launching as Rebirth Online on Steam on July 31st. It's unclear whether it'll be just a port of the mobile version or a remake, but I suspect it'll be just a port of the mobile version of the game on PC. And we've seen a handful of other mobile games do this already, and I think we're going to be getting a lot more mobile games on Steam in the future, only because it's so easy just porting your game right at the PC, and it's the same exact game for the most part. Rebirth Online is a Korean-developed MMORPG and based on the 2018 MMO Rebirth M. I can't imagine just slapping the game on Steam is going to make it very popular though, but I guess from their perspective, it can't hurt. Speaking of mobile MMORPGs, Black Desert Mobile launched the Awakening update, which allows players to unlock a whole new set of weapons and skills that drastically changes the way how their characters are played. Awakened skills are available for all classes except the Striker on the mobile version. Anyone who played the PC version of Black Desert Online should know how big of a deal Awakening is. The update also adds an Accessory Awakening system, which is a new way to upgrade accessories in the game. Black Desert Online is still one of the most popular MMORPGs in the West, but the mobile version hasn't been a huge hit here. But it's a totally different story in Asia, as the game is doing really well in South Korea and Japan, and it just hasn't done well in the West just yet, but maybe that might change in the future. But most mobile MMORPGs don't seem to do well in the West. Up next, Pagan Online publisher Wargaming announced they'll be converting the online ARPG to a single-player game, effectively shutting down all the multiplayer components, so I guess it'll be called Pagan now, or Pagan Offline. The game is a long struggle to maintain a large enough player base to warrant keeping the servers online. As is, the game's online servers will be shutting down on August 4th, and to thank players for their support, players can get a free 7-day premium and a Tier 3 vehicle in World of Tanks, World of Warships, or World of Warplanes, or World of War Tanks Blitz. This shouldn't surprise anyone though, as it's tough to compete with premier ARPGs like Path of Exile, which continues to dominate the market. Next up, AreaNet rolled out the latest balance patch for Guild Wars 2, which made big changes to profession skills and traits across the board, and a ton of other PvP balance changes were also introduced. Developers also released their development roadmap for the third quarter of 2020. Players can expect the next Icebrewed Saga, titled No Quarter, to launch at the end of July, the Festival of the Four Winds in the first half of August, and a new Mountain Fractal in September. Because of the coronavirus, the No Quarter update won't feature any voice acting, but it'll be added to the game later. Up next, Dual Universe, a crowdfunded sci-fi MMORPG that later raised money from private investors, is heading into beta on August 27th. The game promises an open-world sci-fi environment with a single-shard, multi-planet sandbox PvP experiences similar to EVE Online, but the spiel here is that a lot of the content in the game is apparently going to be coded by other players, some sandbox elements with that regard. Strangely though, the beta will require players to pay $6.99 monthly subscription fee. This is the first time I've heard of a beta charging a monthly subscription, but then again, these Kickstarter MMOs had to be pretty crafty when it comes to monetization. I'm curious to see how the game is going to work though, because again, a big part of the game is supposed to be scripting in the game where players can script certain content into the game, and that sounds interesting on paper at least, and we'll see how that actually works. Next up, a Korean mobile game developer called Game Tales announced they'll be working on a PC and mobile MMORPG using Unreal Engine 4.5, with plans to eventually switch to Unreal Engine 5 on release. There'll be two separate versions of this game, a PC release aimed at Western players and a mobile version with AFK autoplay features, presumably aimed for an Eastern audience. The unknown game is planned for release sometime in 2022, so there isn't any kind of game to really talk about right now or see, but it's good to see companies already announcing and working on an Unreal Engine 5 MMO. The video in the background is just a PS5 demo for Unreal Engine 5, but it's kind of cool to see more and more RPGs again on this technology. No release date for this one just yet, sometime in 2022, so it's still quite a ways off. Next last bit of news this week comes from Torchlight 3. In a state of the game update on Steam, the studio behind it announced that most of the bugs in the game since launch have been fixed, and hard at work on new content, including the new card-based endgame system called Fazir's Djinn Challenge, where players take on increasingly difficult dungeons from Fazir Shah from Torchlight 2. A major overhaul of the game's relic system is also underway, and Ember cores will be removed entirely. All progress in the live servers will be wiped once the update rolls out, and these new features will be available on test servers later this week. Strange to see the wipe on a launched game, but it is happening. On some more positive news, Torchlight 2 will be free on Epic Game Store between July 16th and July 23rd, so make sure to grab it. Gotta love those free games on Epic. Also, Torchlight 3 actually has been averaging less players on Steam than Torchlight 2. So if you want to play Torchlight 2, again, free to play on Epic Games in the coming weeks. Anyway guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys next time. Later guys.